It is good to see you guys today. It is good to see you guys today. I am grateful, always to have you around. And today, the title of the video is "Watch Your Mouth." You know what I'm saying? Just before we get into the video, a little bit of a disclosure. Been having a little bit of Wi-Fi issues when it comes to uploading the videos. Like today I had to walk over, and not issues, but I just have to get a little bit better understanding of my situation, because the video that was posted today was taken yesterday, but the Wi-Fi that we have here only works with Ethernet and things of that nature. So I've been having a little bit of internet issues, and I've been literally running around all day trying to go to different Wi-Fi's. I went, bro. Arizona is so hot, guys. Arizona is so hot. I'm still adapting to it, but right now, stop. Actually, I'll show you. If you look outside, you should see like a red robin over there, and right by that red robin is a Starbucks. I went over to the Starbucks. That would have took 19 hours, and I didn't realize that until I was in. And then I went over to Carl's Jr. I walked over to Taco Bell, and then finally, I waited a couple of hours at the Diamond Casino, which might be the spot unless I get stuff fixed here. But back to the video, I'll just let you know. For this video is gonna be a little bit shorter, because I would also like to study more and have a more well-absorbed topic. Because usually I spend a lot more time like early in the day, but today was a little bit of a more busier day, so I still have to get to doing stuff. The day is not over, the day is not finished, but yeah. So today's a little bit shorter of a video, and we'll just get straight into it, because I know that was a little bit of a filler. First point: words are energy, and they're your energy. What you give is what you will receive, right? So this is a message to people who think that when they talk about other people, or when they talk about other people with people, that the message isn't still being received, or it's not still being transmuted, right? What you have to realize is that words are energy. Words are vibration, and vibration is energy. I'm not gonna get too deep into this. Pretty sure it'll progress. But any type of energy you put out into the world, you will receive. Let's just go for an example, right? I'll make this immediate. If I were to look at you like this, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't make you feel happy. You know what I'm saying? And since I did that to you, I got a certain type of energy back. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep this very, you know what I mean? That's how we do it here. We like to generalize stuff so we can cover topics of the world that are beneficial. When you put out energy, you are receiving it. Even though if it's not immediate, you will still receive that energy. So this message is really about gossip, because I was talking with Mike earlier, DSU Mike, and I was just coming to like a realization, and I was like, I'm gonna make that the point of the video today, because it was some spontaneous stuff, and I was realizing that, guys, we are our own obstacles. Like literally, we are our own obstacles. I was my own obstacle, and stuff like that happens, but you don't have to stay your obstacle, and the only way to get out of the way of yourself is to be aware of what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? If you're unaware, or if you're aware and don't care of what you're doing, and you proceed to do that, and it's not something that's beneficial, then it's gonna go on to undevelop your character and be unbeneficial until something happens to where it's like, oh, the world hates me or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And people play off that energy and just consider that themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like the world doesn't like you, or something's out to get you. That's not the truth. You this is what predicts it all. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, guys, also just be aware of when you're talking about another person, and what type of energy you're putting into that, because especially if you invest emotion into that, if you invest your emotion into that gossip, if you invest your emotion into that mockery, you're unbuilding yourself, and that's not what this channel is about. So this, like I said, since it's going to be a shorter video, I hope I'm not talking lower, because I have to not be shy to be myself. I have to be, you know what I'm saying? I have to be able to vocalize it and not really care about the outside. Anyways, and then we have one phrase. Like I made the phrase of I have one topic that I wanted to talk about in three uh, quotes from different books, and these are just all cross-referencing the same point. For the first quote, it'll come from the story of The Mastery of Self by Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. And sorry if I'm a little slow, guys. I'm like, I was walking all day today, and seriously, like, my brain is a little foggy from being out in the hot and stuff. So basically, what this talks about, I'm gonna sum up the story because it's kind of long. It's the introduction, but it's talking about how imagine yourself in a party, right? Let's just say you were dreaming, right? And you in that dream you're in a party, correct? And in the party everybody is, having the time of their lives, but like having the time of their lives off the drunkenness and the events that are going on in the party, you know what I'm saying? As you talk to different people, different type of emotions range from high to low, all that good stuff. But what we have to realize is, like, the longer the party goes on, the more that hold on, let me make sure. I want to make sure have to make sure that I'm getting this point in the right way that it also illustrates. But as you're in this party, right, people are drunk and people are at different levels of intoxication, and as you try to talk to different types of people at this party, you can see that your message is not going through because they're just so, in the moment, they're just so having like fun of the party that what you say just doesn't translate into like a message that can be taken in. This is just part of the party, you know what I'm saying? This is all just a part of the party, you know what I'm saying? And as the night goes on and as people proceed to live in the drama actions of the party, you start to realize that not the point of the party, but people are starting to live for the drama of the party. And as they start to live for the drama of the party, they start to do things that they don't even really themselves want to do, you know what I'm saying? Or they're not even thinking about the consequences of their actions, but it's just part of the party, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna get to the quote because that's where this ends up at. You realize that even though they are drunk, it's not the booze they crave more of, but rather the drama of the party. And I feel like that's just one of the things that gossiping and not being aware of your mouth allows, because as the party goes on, it builds momentum, right? Let's just say you're talking to another person. As you talk bad about another person to another person, that's just going to build momentum to make it easier to take that route when it comes to being around certain people, right? Just watch your mouth, because, and I know that was a kind of weird like cross reference, but if you can get the point as far as the momentum part and it building on, that eventually, if you have the momentum to keep doing something over and over and over and over and over again, that becomes your person. That becomes part of your personality. That becomes who you are. You know what I'm saying? If I were to go to practice for a sport every day and practice, I would end up being an athlete for that sport. That's how life works, and we are gonna realize this as a people, you know what I'm saying? And it has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with race, but we are gonna realize this as a group, a community, a brotherhood, a loving family, right? That was my first point. I have faith that you guys that made sense, because I'm trying to cross-reference multiple books that I have, because my library is only going to get bigger, guys, and this is honestly, books are one of the things that have helped me to be able to transform my life significantly, because it makes you aware. Let's go ahead and get into the second point, which is, this is gonna be my favorite. Oh my gosh, I'm cramping, bro. Y'all, this getting back in shape stuff is no joke, bro. Stay in shape, stay healthy, y'all. Cause boy, temporary repercussions. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 4 through 8. Right? The words of a man's mouth are deep waters. The fountain of wisdom is a bubbling brook. It is not good to be partial, to be wicked, or to deprive the righteous of justice. A fool's lips walks into a fight, and his mouth invites a beating. A fool's mouth in his ruin, and his lips are a snare to his soul. The words of a whisperer, like delicious morsels, they go down into the innermost parts of your body. And how I interpret that is basically, if you are the type, not to say if you, a man doesn't who isn't aware of the foolish words that he's putting out, it snares his soul, right? It entraps his soul into a box, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't push a level of, and if you know about the seven chakras, we're not gonna get to that, but you're blocking, right? Your source, like, you are blocked from your spirit. You're blocked from the source, allowing to access parts of you that are creative, parts of you that are loving, parts of you that are generous, parts of you that can bring people together. When you use foolish words and you talk about foolish things in foolish ways, you're setting yourself up for failure, like the Bible says, like the book says. And I want to be specific. The words of a whisperer are like delicious morsels. They go down into the innermost parts of his body, right? Just because a person can't hear what you're saying, like I said, doesn't mean the message isn't being put out and the message ain't gonna be received back, right? Shout out to Myron. I felt like him when I said that. So that's my second point. And for the last one, we have the seven spiritual laws of success. And I'm also cross-referencing these books, guys, because I've already read this book multiple times, and I've read most of the books that I've already read, or I've read a good amount of them, and they're integrated within self to where I understand it, right? Guys, let me tell you something. It's like, when I try to read something, I can't get past it until I understand it, and if I don't, then I'm realizing that that's not important to me, even if it may be. You know what I'm saying? So, that's kind of how I work. Anyways, this one talks about the law of karma, or cause and effect, right? Everyone has heard the expression, what you sow is what you reap. If we want to create happiness in our lives, we must learn to sow the seeds of happiness. And guys, same topic. I'm preaching the same topic because also this helps me prevent from getting into a bad notion, and it's also the consistency that I'm trying to keep up with. But what you reap is what you sow. What you put out is what you will grow. What you plant, you know what I'm saying? Like, anything that you hint at, anything that you mark up at, is the things that you're trying to grow. You know what I'm saying? Those are the things that you are trying to build onto in life, right? So, guys, watch your mouth. Make sure that you are talking. I'm here with y'all. I'm here with y'all. Trust. Make sure that we are talking in a way of advancement. Make sure we are talking a way of improvement, right, guys? Because we don't want to be fucked up. No, none of us want to be effed up. So, love y'all. Thank you for watching. Always thank you for watching. Appreciate you, and y'all know the drill. DSU.